So I was going on more fentanyl overdoses than I was going on COVID patients. And I'm in recovery at the time. So when someone overdoses, like just right now, like I look at it different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not dirtbags.
No.
You know, and it really affected me. But no one's doing critical incident debriefs after a fentanyl overdose.
Nope.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, the Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
I'm at Shane Earn, baby.
Hell
Bash
yeah.
Brothers.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
And remember, new episodes dropping every Tuesday and Friday. Check them out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
All right. Welcome to the Hopeaholics podcast.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah,
A few minutes
excited.
late, but that's fine.
Am I?
No.
No, I'm joking. I was come
We
on.
messed up.
We
thought
messed up. It
we
was
had
us. I
11,
was
so
teasing
then
him. We
thought,
were
like,
11:30.
Oh.
We thought 11 o'clock, but his send out was 11:30.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
Catherine
grinding
messed
him.
it up.
No,
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal to me because, you know,
Yeah.
if you're early, you're not. If you're on time,
Yes.
You're late.
You're
you're
late.
late.
Yeah.
Come from a paramilitary organization.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Yes, Maddie. You can call me Maddie.
Maddie.
Yeah,
All right. Cool.
Only his mom calls him Matthew.
that's true.
When you're in trouble?
Mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does she
Matthew.
only when you're in trouble?
Oh, only when I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was in trouble quite a bit, I think.
Oh, bro.
Shit.
Yeah. I mean, look at me.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, I got well, and here I am.
A fireman for 22 years.
22 years. Yep. City of Anaheim,
So born and raised in
Southern California.
Southern California.
Yeah, but not. I grew. You know, I grew up very poor.
Yeah.
So I grew up in some really rough neighborhoods. So I got bullied a lot, and I learned how to fight really early in life. You know, and I was never comfortable in my own skin.
Can relate to that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people do you think are not comfortable in their own skin?
Well, that's
Just us addicts or a
75%?
lot of?
No, 75%.
A lot
of the
more.
population. 70% for
And then what is unique about that 25%? Like, how are they comfortable in their skin? They
Introspection.
just born that way?
I think it's just a lot.
Their brains are different.
Yeah.
They're able to process things a little bit more logically. And so I feel like they have a little bit more self-awareness and self-assessment and can take accountability and kind of power through with what they know that they need to do right to make themselves feel better.
I just wanted to fit in.
Oh, me too. I told the story the other day. So I grew up in a predominantly African-American community. And that was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And I wanted to fit in so bad. Remember the 80s rappers?
Yeah.
Like I bought the leather Africa
Oh my God.
necklace. Remember those?
Yeah.
And I had the Laker hat with the Old English, my name on the side. And I got the shit kicked out of me for doing that. I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I just wanted to fit in. And it was tough.
Where'd you grow up?
Pomona.
Pomona.
P-Town,
Yeah.
Montclair, Pomona. We moved around a lot as a kid.
I
Yeah.
crashed my car off the 10 freeway right there in Pomona.
Nice.
Rolled it on a good meth run.
Oh, phew.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah. I mean, Pomona. That's where I was going to pick up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I grew up in all over that area. You know, my dad was an Orange County Sheriff's deputy, Marine, Vietnam vet, and he and my mom were divorced at a young age. So my mom did what she could, and you know, we lived all over, and so it's, you know, just when I started to fit in somewhere, we'd pick up and leave because the rent was due, and then I'm off to the next group of people to try and fit in, right? And so, you know, when I was an athlete, I went to Catholic school, so I didn't have to switch schools a bunch, which was kind of cool. So I found sports. You know, I played football and basketball and ice hockey, and that's where I had my outlet until I lost my position at a all boys Catholic high school to a kid whose parents bought the school a bus. And I remember the day I was doing this. I have to tell you guys about this reality center. Jonathan Chia, he's a combat veteran. It's in Santa Monica, but I was doing the experience. It's like ketamine treatment without the ketamine. It's really awesome. And I had this. I went right back to the moment. I'm at this all boys Catholic high school. I leave the football team, and you have to wear collars and have short hair and all that stuff. And I remember I had this Misfit shirt on underneath, and I was like, I took that collared shirt off, and I had this Misfit shirt on, and then I found the guys who smoked weed and drank and skateboarded and listened to punk rock music, and that was my new crew. And when the alcohol went in, when the drugs went in, and we were going to shows, and I found my tribe, and that's kind of how I ran for a long time after that. And in complete transparency, I did a pre-employment screening before I got hired with the city of Anaheim, but I didn't tell them everything I was doing. But it turned out, I thought getting hired on the fire department, there were gonna be all these like schoolboys, like everyone was straight laced, and no. So,
It takes a lot to be a fireman, though, to pass the test just to.
Oh yeah, it took me about. From the time I decided to be a firefighter until the time I got off probation, it was about 6-7 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's just, and during that time, like when I made the decision, it was like, okay, no more messing around. Like I still drank, but put down everything else. Stopped hanging out with those people. I had to make myself look like what I thought these guys, what their lives look like. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. And I worked hard. Like when everybody was in their, it was about 19. I was like 19 when I started. So when everybody else was out partying and doing the 21 thing, I was like at home studying, tying knots, like looking for stuff to volunteer, taking classes. I worked a full-time job. I had a little condo that I bought down in Laguna Hills, because as soon as I can get away from that area, I was like just right to the beach. Yeah. I just wanted to feel safe, And it took me about that long. I got hired with the city of Anaheim. I took like 50 tests. I drove all over. Anyone that was hiring, I would, because you have to, to do a written and you do a physical agility, and I was working out in between, because it's physically tough as well. So yeah. But it was hard.
That's got to be that's one of the tougher parts of it is what you have to do, the physicality.
Yeah.
That you have to do to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's, and then you have to be, not only that, but you got to be somewhat smart, because you got to learn all these tools. You got to give classes on the tools. You have to be a certain way. And that's, part of the problem now with the suicide epidemic that's going on with first responders, is that my story's not unique. It takes a lot of us that long, and then it becomes an identity. And what's happening is, PTS is a brain injury, and alcohol's in the culture. So these guys they're getting wrecked, man. They don't know what's wrong with them. They think that crying is something, they're broken. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you're human. There's just so much to it. And so when a lot of them are getting in trouble, because that's how it shows up. Yeah. They're not getting the help that they deserve. And we're starting to look at it differently, but they're, they lose their identity, and they lose their way of making income. And what am I going to do with auto extrication certification in the real world? Right? Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Can't do shit with that. Yeah.
So you're the second guest that we've had that takes the D off of PTS.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And can you explain why you do that?
Yeah. For a couple of reasons. One, according to the DSM, PTSD disorder, it lists all this criteria for acute and chronic PTSD. I like to look at it more like an injury, because I've been in this space for a long time with veterans and first responders, and we don't have a disorder, because there's life on the other side of it, and it can be managed, and disorder has a certain connotation to it that just adds to the stigma. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have PTS, but they don't have all 5 criteria, and it does affect their life, and it affects the way they do their job. And so we're trying as a community, as a culture of first responders, we're trying to get it changed to PTSI, because we know now, and there's a lot of books out there and there's a lot of white papers being written about it being a brain injury, you know. And I actually, the reason why I saw your show the first time was because of Dr. Amen. And I went to Dr. Amen. Their foundation helped me. Like, I'm going through work comp stuff. The city's denying me help. And I knew Doc Amen and Christina over there, and they said, we want to do the scans for you.
Wait, why would the city was denying helping?
Yep. Because after you get injured on the job, you become a liability. And I didn't know that. I thought, if I'm a hero, right? Like, I've been scraping up dead bodies and dead babies off your streets. And when you want to get elected to city council, you put our fire trucks all over your thing, and we support you. And yeah, you become a liability, and it comes down to dollars and cents. And that's why I do a lot of preventative stuff. I have the treatment center, but I'm a huge advocate. I was in a documentary called PTSD 911, which has gone across the country. Like, just this guy followed me around for 3.5 years, like videoing my panic attacks, you know, because people don't see that stuff. You know, they need to see it. And not just as a community, as first responders, we know the problem, right? I think there's enough classes and stuff like that. But the solution is it's tricky. Yeah. It's tricky. So, you know, I work with a lot of nonprofits that help to provide things like the Stella Ganglion Block, which I was telling you about, Amen Clinic. Like insurance wants to fight you on everything, as you guys well know.
Of course.
In the business, it's bullshit.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. You know, and now we have specialized treatment for these people, and some of those modalities that actually are proven to work, they're like, pay for equine therapy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, although I've seen miracles in the round pen at a veteran suicide organization that I volunteered for 3.5 years called Save a Warrior, where we did equine therapy. In 5.5 days, we got these guys from suicidal to wanting to take their lives back. 5.5 days.
Yeah, it's because they actually don't want you to get healthy. They actually don't want. I mean, you can look at it in the industry just as a whole, of the banning of peptides across. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's insane. That is the same thing when they start to do stuff with mental health. Things don't make sense to me. Like, why don't you give long-term treatment?
Right.
Why do you continue to allow people to go 30 days and then relapse, back into detox, back into RTC? And it doesn't make sense to me unless they want the person dead, because then once they're dead, they don't have to pay anything.
Isn't that crazy? And work comp is, a lot of these guys are caught up in the work comp system because it's a work injury.
Yeah.
Like, we're asking these guys to ask for help, like, because they're killing themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, ask for help. If you have these signs and symptoms, ask for help, and we'll get you the help. Now they're asking for the help, and then they're getting denied, and then we're getting treatment. I was just talking to my partner. We help this guy, and I will every time. You know, we got to keep the doors open, but we're getting denied because he didn't go to an outpatient program and failed at first, even though his department said this guy needs help, and he did, and now he's doing great, and he's back to work. And the insurance companies, the third-party insurance companies, or the insurance companies that manage the money for these cities are denying them specialized help.
Yeah.
It blows my mind as well too. Like, and I'm such a bleeding heart, and I'm so passionate.
I mean,
about
the
this.
thing is that's one of the things that this podcast is about, man, is being a voice for that.
Awesome.
For that stuff right there, you know, because we don't consider ourselves like a political podcast, but shit's fucking political.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Like fentanyl on the street. The reason why this podcast exists is because my son-in-law died from fentanyl poisoning.
I'm sorry.
And we are fighting that fight, but that fight bleeds all the way into addiction. It bleeds into mental health. It bleeds into helping our veterans. We love our veterans here, man.
Yeah.
We love the veterans, and the veterans are like. One of the things that pisses me off more than anything is that why can you send a guy to war, bring him back, he's fucked up, and I got better health care than he does.
Right.
Like, how is that okay?
Yep.
You know, and it's the same thing with what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
How can I go to treatment whenever I want and not get denied?
Yeah.
And you guys have been exactly what you said, scraping dead bodies and babies
Right.
off the fucking streets, and you're getting denied treatment.
Right.
That's fucked up.
Absolutely.
Like I'm done with that shit. And that's the shit that fuels me and
Yeah.
gets me kind of fired up, man. I was thinking this weekend, I was like, man, it's time to really start bringing. You know what? It was your reel that inspired me, where you said the F word in it, and it really that reel really blew up.
Yeah, it did.
It did really well, like 30K.
I think I was passionate.
And you were really passionate. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I need to bring back that, and this guy's bringing me back to fire.
Yeah, bro. Let's go. Yeah.
We
I'm
have
with
to
ya.
start fighting, because that's how you get, that's how you get people fired up.
Yeah.
Is when you fight back against this fucked up system that we live in.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember during COVID, so I was stationed to in the resort area of Anaheim. So I was one of the Disney medics. So I ran into my first in was that area. And when COVID happened, the park closed down, and the department's like, we got to do something with these guys. So you're the low level COVID rig. Like, you have the whole. It's just me and my partner on a squad. Like, not how I was used to running calls, like on the engine, 4 people, the ambulance, like a lot coming in. And I don't know, Anaheim has some interesting areas. And it's not all Disneyland.
Yeah.
No,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
no, we call it Anacrime for a reason.
Exactly, bro. Beach and ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during that time, there was, for whatever reason, the hotels in Anaheim were like the cost was super low. So we got parolees and prostitutes coming from all over to go to Anaheim, even though Disney was shut down. And it was just, so I was going on more fentanyl overdoses than I was going on COVID patients. And I'm in recovery at the time. So when someone overdoses, like just right now, like I look at it different. They're not dirtbags.
No.
And it really affected me. But no one's doing critical incident debriefs after a fentanyl overdose.
Nope.
Because they're just dirtbags, right? Now, if it's a baby or if it's a child or if it's it's XYZ, like we're doing these debriefs and stuff. And who am I going to go to and say, hey, chief, like these fentanyl overdoses are really getting to me? Why? It's like, because I'm one of them, and that could be me. So, yeah, man, I'm fired up too. I'm fired up too about all this stuff, and I think that guys like us and Nat, and we need to be the voice for these folks that are suffering right now, and they think they're the only one.
Yeah.
And it's happening not just for first responders, but veterans, and just there's a mental health crisis in this country. It's more than just getting sober, right? It's about healing.
Who'd ever
people's
thought
brain.
that I would be advocating for like help for the cops?
Yeah, me too, kind of. Well,
these guys, it's like, and I had to deal with them on the day that my son-in-law died, and I looked at them, and and I could tell they see this every fucking day. This wasn't a once in a while thing. It was like they had been so hardened to it, and I get it, because I've been hardened to death from the disease of addiction, because I have worked in this industry for 23 years, and I have seen hundreds of people die from the disease of addiction, but nothing like the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, insanity every week. As a matter of fact, today is the 1 year anniversary of Shane and I's basketball teammate passed away from fentanyl. We call it all poisoning now because there's no safe dose of illicit fentanyl,
right?
And and what no matter what it is, like fentanyl is fucking people up. It's fucking up firemen. It's fucking up cops. It's fucking up people like myself. It's fucking up families.
Right.
Everybody's one person away nowadays from knowing somebody who has died. Right.
Yeah.
You either it's somebody that you love deeply and care about, or you're the one person.
Right. Yeah.
That happened to.
When I went to treatment the first time, I got really close with a young kid, in an outpatient, and he was doing great. You know, he was checking on me, and I was checking on him, and his dad came down to give him his car, and he got his car because he was from back east, and we came in to IOP one morning, and they brought us all in there, and I'd never gotten that close to somebody, you know, who overdosed on fentanyl poisoning, and man, it still messes me up.
Yeah.
Like, this is a young kid that's doing great, you know, and one minute, the next minute they're calling us in to say, hey man, this happened. And I'm like, man, I still have a voicemail that he left me, you know, and it was different. That was a big deal for me. And then since then, I've been into treatment twice, and I had a rough year. 2 stents in treatment and 6 days in the psych ward after a suicide attempt. And one of the 6 of us, he also had fentanyl poisoning overdose, and yeah, it just hits different, man. When it's someone that, you know, a son-in-law, that's, God, man, so hard.
Yeah, it is, and my, you know, it's. I loved the kid, and the part that for me that is the hardest is knowing how broken my daughter is.
Yeah.
You know, this is her very first love.
Yeah.
You know, it's the love of her life. The you know, the only person she had ever loved besides her dad.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, and it, you know, and it's heartbreaking because she's the same little girl that saved my life when she was born. You know, had she
Right.
never been born, I might be dead or in prison
Yeah.
for the rest of my life. You know, and so for me not to get out and fight this fight, and you know, be the loudest voice
Yeah.
out there. I mean, for me, this is like nothing. The rest of my life has already been set. It's almost like it was set up to do this.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at it, because it's like it ends up being all part of like our business anyways. It's what I do for a living, and now I'm just here with these 2 amazing freaking hosts
Right.
to, you know, go to war. Like
Yeah.
we declared, Shane and I declared war almost about a year ago on fentanyl.
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty well. But I'll tell you something, bro.
And then they needed the big guns.
Yep, and
to
we needed
join
a
up.
big guns because, you know, we were only chilling at, like, you know, we only had
20, 30,000.
I think I had
Yeah.
300 followers on Instagram.
And you brought in big guns over here.
I brought in the big guns.
Yep.
You know, we talk about mental health and that, but people weren't supposed to be molested by a priest for years on end.
No.
People weren't supposed to see dead bodies
Right.
burned to a crisp, or a mother drowning or
Right.
getting drowned, or people weren't supposed to see this on a daily fucking basis.
No.
Yeah.
We weren't bred for that.
Right.
Yeah.
We just weren't.
Right.
Yeah. And the plot thickens, actually, because I got diagnosed with what they call complex PTS. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Yep.
before,
Yep.
but that's, you know, childhood trauma plus moral injury, which
Yeah.
is what we see on the job. So during, you know, my time of recovery and doing all the therapy and everything I do now, it turns out that the calls that stay stuck are the ones that I associate unconsciously and subconsciously to my own childhood. Right. That's how that works. And then how the brain works when you're, you know, when you're in situations where you might die or someone else is dying, or it's physiology, it's science.
Yeah.
You know, and to look at it like it's a mental illness or you're broken or any of the stigma BS that's out there. It's just, you know, it's about fighting the fight, and, you know, and
Yeah, but the human mind wasn't meant to see this stuff.
No.
The human mind shuts off at some point, and disbelief takes over. Alcohol takes effect. Drugs
Right.
take effect, and reality is gone.
right. Yeah. And if you don't have good coping skills,
You're fucked.
so, you know, and that's, I was doing some work with the Basic Fire Academy, and I love talking to those young, fresh, you know, they have all these,
No idea.
yeah,
No
but
idea.
they think they do have an idea,
Right? Yeah.
and they don't. Especially nowadays, it's like the kids coming in now into the careers, they're more apt to ask for help, and they're all about some of the modalities, yoga, meditation, things like that. They're all about it, but they are not prepared for what they're going to see out there at all. So, and we have a lot of them that they're getting hired after all that work and then saying, yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And especially with law enforcement, I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit, but people would shit their pants right now if they knew how low their staffing levels are.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to do the job anymore for said reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
Many reasons, right? There's
well, they have a target on their back right
yeah,
now.
right. Yeah.
It's like, they're not being supported
Yeah.
by the cities that they work for. And I mean, in Orange County, they do.
Yeah.
Thank God. You see those big signs?
Yeah.
I love it.
But no, I haven't. What does the sign say?
They say, don't
we-
crime doesn't pay.
Yeah. No,
We prosecute.
we prosecute. Yeah.
Yep.
In Orange County?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We had Don Barnes on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Sheriff,
great.
Sheriff Don Barnes.
Yeah. Yeah. He knew my dad.
He did?
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, so much to talk about here, right? It's like, but the reality is we're all rowing this canoe together. It doesn't matter what uniform you wear or what you do for a living. We're all human beings trying to coexist on this planet, right? And try to help each other. Like I really didn't understand what a life of service was. I mean, this is a firefighter, right? Life of service until I stepped in the rooms of 12-step. Then I learned what real service was.
Yeah, they I always thought I say this a lot, but like it really hits it for me because like they didn't know who they were fucking with when they put fentanyl out on the streets, man, and they started fucking with addicts because people in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous because like we live by a tradition, man, and we don't care about anybody's age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, or lack of religion. It's like. We all are there in a room. Like somebody could be, doesn't even matter. And fucking, we're here to help.
Right.
Like when you entered that room, and that's what the actual, like, we don't use our last name thing actually stands for. Like I'm anonymous, right?
Right.
Although like I recover out loud, I never even mention whether or not I'm a member of any of those organizations.
Right.
That would be me breaking a tradition. But with that being said, like we can all come together and help each other get through the pain, which is the one thing that everybody in the world has in common.
Right.
We all know what that feels like. We all know what a broken heart feels like. We all know what it feels like to hurt.
Yep.
And people that are trying to be so tough to hide that shit are the ones that are hurting the most, man.
100%. And a lot of them wear uniforms and go out there with massive egos and think that they're invincible. And when they cry, they think they're broken. I'm like, no, cry.
Man, cry.
Cry.
The best thing that ever happened.
Good ugly face, cry with boogers and,
snot and
it's
all that good stuff.
Yeah. I've had some good ones like that. And just, it's the world's the world. We got to help each other. It just reminded me of I got forced hired a bunch because the staffing levels are low in the fire department as well. And I had been at work for like 5 days and I was getting antsy, and Zoom wasn't cutting it. So I went to an Alano club in Anaheim in my uniform. And like I was late for the meeting and I walked in and everyone kind of looked at me like, and I was like, I'm just another alcoholic here. And they're like, okay, there's your seat. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Dude, you got to do what you got to do. We're all, like I said.
I'm just back on the mental health kick because what he said really resonated with me. I mean, the mental health is so deep in this world. Like, what do you do as a young age? Talk therapy? I mean, you never know what's going to push someone over the edge as a kid.
Right.
Is he bullied? Was he called names? Do you do talk therapy? Are they open to discussion? Are they even getting it at that age? Like, where do you even start this shit?
Yeah.
Well, you start by asking. You start communication, but you start by asking for help.
Yeah.
That is where you start. When the pain, like my favorite saying, when the pain of remaining the same outweighs the fear of change. Like when you're hurting so bad.
Yeah, you'll go through it.
Oh yeah.
you're, and I like to tell people that it's easier to actually walk through pain than to sit in it day after day
yeah.
after day after day.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that's
that you're
miserable.
stuck in the worst part of it.
Mhm.
If you're just staying there stuck. Once you start walking, it gets a little lighter, it gets a little easier, it gets a little less.
Right.
You know, it is a hard task to learn how to feel your feelings, your real raw feelings, not like, oh, I'm going to resort to anger.
Right.
You know, that real feeling of sadness or hurt or
Helplessness.
helplessness.
First responders do not like to feel helpless. Because
We're helpless alone as individuals.
I think helplessness is, I mean, we're not God.
Yeah.
So there are going to be times when when we feel helpless, and that's when we need to call upon our higher power, whatever that is. That's what I do now.
Yeah.
Now that's a big deal for me. Like, that's a big part of it. Right. And it's not, my fire department, there were like almost like 250, not one of them was in recovery. I was the first one that was in recovery. And I remember thinking, like, okay, I have a daily practice now. And that includes getting on my knees every morning. And I'm in the dorm, and I was a little embarrassed, to be honest, about getting on my knees by my bunk at the firehouse. And then something shifted because I started to get well, and I knew that I had the asterisk spiritual experience of educational variety, and I just started doing it, and I just didn't care, and I got made fun of. What are you doing, dude? Like, so to bring spirituality into the firehouse was, it was difficult, because I got memes made of me, and I go speak all over the country, and I have this meme that they made of me, which is pretty funny, but it's got butterflies, and it's like morning meditations got me, like, it's me with like butterflies, and but whatever, but slowly people would start coming to me like, what's that about? I think I think that's missing in those circles.
Yeah,
Spirituality is missing. You guys don't want to talk about it. Like,
Most
that's
of-
so important.
That's what's missing from this country. That's what's being taken away
Amen,
from
brother.
this country.
Yeah.
God.
Yep. Amen.
Right, Shane?
Yeah, it's too bad, man. It's too bad because it's the one thing that really unites us,
Yeah.
or that used to unite us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing now?
So now I do some preventative work with Dr. Gina Gallivan. She's a police psychologist in LA. So we do a lot of wellness classes around alcohol abuse. We teach them how to meditate.
So you're right in at the police station?
Yeah, I'm right, like, at their briefings.
Right on.
Yeah, getting all these guys in uniform to meditate.
Wow.
Nice.
Right? It's awesome. So we do that. We teach peer support classes, advanced and basic peer support classes. And so I do the preventative stuff, which I love, a little bit of teaching at the academy. I go all over the country and speak, tell my story, and more importantly, like, solution, like what I did to get well.
That's what's nice.
Yeah. And I was in a documentary called PTSD 911. It's on Amazon. And so I get to go to different screenings of that film and do panels afterwards and get to know people. And then I have a 12-bed treatment facility in Cathedral City, California, called Recovery First, first responder only. So I got A to Z right now.
Nice.
And I thought being a firefighter was the end all be all, and like we were talking about pain, like I went through a lot of pain, suicide attempts, and like I just didn't want to be here anymore, struggling with addiction, and now it's just like I wouldn't change it for the world, because now I get to go back for those that are, because there's some really good people came back for me, and now it's God put me on this platform to be able to do this, and there's nothing better. There's no call that I've ever been on where I saved someone's life is better than helping another brother or sister that's struggling, and then watching them help somebody else. It's the best thing ever. Like, I get goosebumps right now thinking about it. So yeah, I'm out there all over, and then I'm boots on the ground. Like I like being with the guys at the house. Like I'm there every Monday except for today, and and a lot of them I get calls from their peer support people. Like I went to their house and helped get them, to the house. So to see them leave after a certain amount of time, and there's just, it fills my soul.
Yeah.
It's what God has me doing right now, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's amazing. Everyone says, or I hear it a lot, I haven't found my purpose yet. I'm confused. I'm delusional. I don't know what to do. But in the end, the purpose is it doesn't matter. You have to help someone else.
That's it.
That's it.
Service.
Yep.
That's what all of our. That's what everybody's
every-
purpose.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody.
you can literally tell you what your purpose is to help another
Some
another
way.
human being.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
some way.
Yes.
No matter what. It doesn't matter what that looks like. It's got to go
What
there.
what did you do to get well? Because I heard you say that. Now you talk about it, and
Yeah.
you teach about how you got well. What did you do to get well?
Well, the first thing I did was I got sober. Right? I mean, right?
Yep.
Well, because a lot of this, I mean, mental health, especially PTS, you're not going to make any.
I'll be right back. I could hear my dog.
Oh.
Whimpering and
Oh.
saying barking, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we wait?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I got sober, which is not easy to do, right? And then that opened up all kinds of doors. I mean, really, I just learned from the people in the rooms, like, hey, how about meditation? Like, what do you do to meditate? I'm like, oh, well, I learned this little 20-minute meditation at this suicide prevention program I went to. It seems to be working. And then my first sponsor was LAPD officer. And he's like, have you ever heard of Vipassana meditation? And I was like, no. He goes, it's 10 days. You take a vow of silence. You eat vegan. And you meditate 18 hours a day. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Guess what? I did it.
You did it.
Oh, changed my life. I've done it twice.
How long was it?
10 days.
10 days. Okay.
Vow of silence.
Yeah.
Meditate. It's called Vipassana meditation. It's the technique the Buddha taught in its purity.
Yeah.
They're all over the world.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, day 3, you go bananas. Insane. Like your ego just wants to, and all that, But meditation's scientifically proven to heal your brain. Scientifically proven to heal your brain. It helps with PTS. And then all the other stuff the wisdom that comes, like some of the ideas and the creativity that I have to this day is all God. It's all wisdom coming through, sitting quietly and focusing on my breath, right? So that's something I learned in the rooms and then took it to the next level because I'm alcoholic and I like to do 10 days, But yeah, so and like eating healthy and working out and stuff like that was kind of always in my DNA. So I got back to that. I started doing neurofeedback. I went to the Amen clinics and got brain SPECT scans done. And that, I didn't know, pointed out that I had TBI. So a lot of first responders have undiagnosed TBI. I mean, we know veterans have it because they're getting blown up. But a lot of us were athletes before, or, you've been hit in the head. I've been hit in the head so many times, helmet on or not.
Yeah.
Like you get your bell rattled when you're pulling ceiling and some stucco comes down on your coconut, And let's see, I've done TMS. I do weekly therapy.
How was TMS for you?
So I think it helped. Like I do so much to like, I'll eat monkey shit if you'll tell me it's going to help me with my anxiety, depression. And you know what I mean? Especially at the time I had locked myself in my apartment for 3 months. I mean, before I went to the Amen clinics to do the.
And were you sober during this time?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. After I got sober, I mean, I did have a relapse and then ended up in treatment and all that stuff. But since the Amen clinics and all that stuff, and the TMS and I'm on some meds now. I was on a lot of them, which was just another thing too. And I don't know if you guys talk about this, but there's a real stigma around medication, especially for first responders, because that's, those people out there have their psych meds, like, So I was on a lot. I needed them. I was suicidal. Like I was having a hard time. Like I was falling apart in the rooms. Like it was becoming a distraction because of the trauma. So I was on 6 meds, and since then I've been able to wean down to 2.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And that's the goal, right? So I like to share that because I was really resistant for a long time to taking the meds. So what else? I did the stellate ganglion block, which is it's an epidural in the front part of your neck. They hit your basal ganglia, which is the part of your brain that kicks off the fight or flight process. And when your body's under stress or traumatic events over a long period of time, it starts to grow more nerves. So that thing it's the same medication that you use for an epidural. An anesthesiology does it. They go in there, they hit that part of your brain, and immediate relief. Like I flew to Chicago to have it done. I was coming out of my skin, like the city and the horn honking and the trains and the, being in a plane that long. And I remember that night I was just looking for a meeting. Like I walked so far to find one, and that helped for a minute. But the next morning I had this treatment done, and my wife did as well. And I spent the next 5 days in Chicago, just like so much fun. Like colors were brighter. Like how many of our senses and our faculties are wasted on hypervigilance, just always waiting for the shoe to drop, always being on alert. Like that's how these guys walk around on the planet, and it's not healthy. So that helped a lot. Regular therapy, EMDR therapy. I do exposure therapy as well. That helps. Like I was stationed at Disneyland, like I said, so my therapist and I meet at Disneyland, and she helps, kind of walk me through some of the calls that I had been there that, so what else? Meetings every day, checking in with my sponsor and working with other people. Like, I really, a big thing I learned was that to not mix my work with my program.
Yeah.
That was kind of a big deal. So now my program's my program, work's work. Because there are days where I just talking to alcoholics all day long, or helping somebody get into treatment, or listening to someone who's in active addiction. Like the last thing I want to do is call my sponsor, but I do now. And he's Greg. Yeah. And he's a stupid old man, and I love him to death. And I used to think, like, why would anybody choose this guy to be their sponsor? Like, I love him. He's been the best. He's got so much wisdom, and he's so fun. Yeah. What else?
Matt, that's a complete lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what suffering from mental health or substance abuse is. You need a complete lifestyle fucking change.
Yeah.
From A to Z.
Yeah.
Becomes part of your life.
Yeah.
Because what he said is a job otherwise.
And on a daily
If it's
basis.
not a lifestyle, it's a fucking job. And if it's a job, it's no bueno.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just,
Good for you.
The one thing that has to change about your life is everything. And that's the good news. Is that what they say?
Yeah, and then the one thing that you change is your perception, and everything else changes.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the world's it's not so scary when you're out there helping other people. And, there's not everybody's
Gotta
out to
turn
get
the
you.
fucking news off too, man. People spend a lot of time watching that news.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on that.
I didn't even know shit was going on at USC until I was at the gym on the fucking Stairmaster today, and everybody starts talking about the fuck. I was like, what's going on at USC? Shane, we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no bueno. And like the science behind that and the dopamine hits you get from staring at that stuff. It's like, I'm a Christian, and the Bible says, like, what you put in here in your eyes, it's just
true.
It's
and
just
it's so true.
It's as powerful as what goes in here, huh?
100%. And if you're staring at something like that all day long, like, bro, just put it down and go take a walk. Go look at how beautiful the area that we live in is. Go down to
The
the
stuff
beach.
that God actually made.
Exactly.
I'm not so sure He made these things.
Well, that's another thing. Is like,
I mean, that's what I was talking about. We're staring at this shit all day long.
Yeah. And there's science behind being hunched over and looking at that thing. You're pinching off like certain, like your vagus nerve, like all kinds of all kinds of
Probably
stuff.
why I got this cough I've developed. It's probably from this fucking
Yeah.
thing. Pinching
Some
off
AI.
the nerve right here.
Yeah, you got to put it down. It's hard though. It's like I have a 14-month-old daughter now, and
Got to check the cameras.
right. My wife has them all over the house. I don't know what to. I don't know what to do about the phone. Like I really just don't want to give it to her. But how do they make their way through? And honestly, right now I don't even want to put her in school.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like right now she's being homeschooled as of right now. Like I don't. She doesn't need to. We can talk about that offline as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a little girl, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I'm the father that I always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Exactly.
for you.
That's what the most important, right?
That's nice. You know what it is? We're so fucking fragile, and in the last 10 years, we're feeding into all the bullshit.
Yeah.
No, totally.
And making people more fucking fragile.
If you think about it,
And you know what? I'm not saying, hey, stop it. That's
how about
not right.
when the Vikings go back in history, like
Right?
they were savages. Like we have so much luxury that
Yeah.
we're just turning into fragile, soft.
Whoever the
individuals.
Vikings took over, that's who we're becoming right now.
That's who we're becoming. Little bitches.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Become
totally.
crazy.
It's the pendulum has swung
Giving
way.
into all this bullshit
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know what that is. I'm just saying.
No,
Well,
you
and
know what
also,
it is.
and also too, like what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like why are we doing this song and dance?
Right.
You know, it's very interesting
Yeah.
on how things have shifted this
Well,
way.
it's gotten so bad. We're saying no, that's not mental health anymore. That's normal.
totally.
That's how fucking bad
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gotten.
yeah. You're right. When it's like no.
Oh, sorry, that's not bad. That's normal.
Yeah.
Go, do it. That's
Yeah.
how fucked up it's gone.
Right. Because people
boy,
are
I
scared.
opened up a can of worms. by
Yeah, bro.
saying-
Yeah, I'm over here trying to keep my mouth shut. A lot of people watch this.
yeah.
But you're right. It's super crazy. We're allowing like
Yes.
mentally ill people
Yes.
continue being mentally ill and
Yes.
saying it's okay.
Yes.
It's like
that's
no,
what
no,
we're doing.
you're not well.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fucking wrong.
Wrong.
Right.
We need to
And as a matter of fact, we're giving them a very big platform.
Yeah.
to be mentally ill on.
Right.
To spread it all around.
Yeah.
It's like no.
Spread this.
And
Right.
yes, it is fucking contagious.
Very.
It is contagious.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Well-
it's done through those little contraptions there.
Yeah. It's
yeah, it's a window, so back on these contraptions
Yeah.
though, because these contraptions can be used
Sure.
for good.
Yeah.
Well, look what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can spread messages
Right.
like of hope and healing, and that you can get better, and that you don't have to be in pain anymore, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that you're out doing, and you're doing it boots on the ground, out in the community, helping, not just first responders, but everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do it through service work, but we also do it through work.
Yeah.
I chose a career that ended up being service
Right.
to the community. It wasn't my first choice in life. I didn't know that I was gonna work in alcohol and drug
Right.
treatment. That's what we used to call it. Now they want to call it substance use disorder treatment. So fuck that word too.
Right.
SUD treatment. Is this SUD treatment? Substance use disorder. Like, nah, man. I fucking abused that shit like nobody's business. It wasn't just a use disorder. It was abuse. Like, I fucking did that methamphetamines in my veins like it was nobody's business. And then I went to work for the CIA. Hell yeah.
I was on the other team.
Yeah.
I just hid. I wasn't trying to do any CIA work. Oh wow.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, but my point is that part of my life landed me into this career. It was we can take all of our trauma, all of our pain, all of the shit that we went through, and turn it into a career that really changes people's lives.
Sure. Yeah, and you have. I mean, look at this. It's awesome. You guys are doing good work, and I love watching the show. And I thought you wanted to be a race car driver. I saw.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, you are a race car driver.
No.
I know. I watched that.
I will become
Okay.
one. I'm just waiting. I guess it's not really on season for the desert racing right now.
Right.
So, I already have my car.
Okay.
It's race ready.
How do you guys feel about that? You guys okay with that? Or?
I mean, Shane actually raced for how many years?
3-4 years. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, it's nice.
Okay.
Shane's gonna race with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
cool.
in the same car
Not the
though,
same car, but
because he will not let me drive.
no, I will not. He will crash.
Well, he's kind of a big guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, he said it's a little. What did you
tight.
tell him?
It's tight
It's
for-
tight.
It's tight.
It's tight in there.
It's tight. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Can you hear each other when you're
Oh yeah.
shouting out commands and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Shift. I don't know.
I'm not co-piloting with him either. Fuck that. I'm in control of my crashes, man. He said he's crashed a few times
I
already.
crash all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I grew up on the dirt, and
Yeah.
this will be fun for me to
good
do
for you.
it just for a hobby, you know.
Yeah, we all know what Nat does too.
Yep.
You know.
She wrestles.
Yeah. Well,
Haven't wrestled
I think-
in years.
yeah. I remember when I met Nat. You know, I didn't know any of that stuff, and then when I learned that stuff, it's like she's such a down to earth, like really
You would
cool.
never know.
You wouldn't.
We
would-
don't know. And then we go to fucking Daytona 500 with her, and everybody's fucking coming up and asking her to take selfies with,
Yeah.
you know. So other than that, she's just like our sister.
Only
Yeah.
you had someone shaking, though.
Huh?
Only you had someone shaking.
I know, but they thought I was Mr.
I'm
Worldwide.
just saying, bro.
Someone
they thought,
was shaking when
Shaking.
they thought I was
They might
Mr.
have-
They thought I was Mr.
I
Worldwide.
think I might have seen.
They thought I was fucking
think-
Pitbull.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
came up and they were like, "Can I get a picture with you?"
Yeah,
And I was like,
think I saw a pea stain.
"Sure."
Yeah,
The guy put his arm around he's fucking shaking like a motherfucker.
crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, it was wild.
Did
the
you ever
best
tell him
part-
the truth?
No.
That's the
But
best
they
part.
didn't ask. They didn't ask.
Right.
The first person that came up and said, "Hey, are you Pitbull?" I said no. And then this fucking guy is like,
Come on, Pitts.
"Yeah, you
Come
are.
on, Bull.
Stop.
Don't be like that.
Don't be like that. Take a
Yeah.
picture with them."
So
I
they
mean, he
believe-
really did look like him because Pitbull was supposed to be there too.
Oh,
He had,
okay.
Like they obviously he has a shaved head.
We had
Right.
some pictures.
They
The
were
pictures were
wearing-
pretty good.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And the
Pitbull was
picture they put
photographed
out,
wearing these sunglasses.
Yeah.
And they're designer sunglasses.
Okay.
And then he was happened to be wearing designer sunglasses that day. So
The same.
I mean, he really did look like
Yeah.
him a lot.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Have you found that post? Where the guy's like,
no, there was
I
like
found- I
there
met
was like
Pitbull.
at least
It's Chad.
five
I know.
people. I can't wait until like this one lady. She came up, she ran up, and she was like, "Oh my God, can I take a picture with you?" And so I was like, "Yeah," and I took the picture. This is after I knew people thought I was Pitbull. I was like, "Okay, right."
just stolen valor.
So then the lady goes, "Oh, my daughter would have killed me if I wouldn't have taken a picture with you."
Well, she's
Now-
gonna kill you anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna send that
You,
picture.
you's fucking dead. You's liar.
I-
You's
I-
a liar, and now you's dead.
I hope that someday
Oh, for sure.
this all comes out, like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're like, because you know she sent that picture to
Oh,
her
yeah.
daughter,
And her
and her
daughter's
daughter's like, "That's not Pitbull."
Way to go,
That's
Mom.
so good. Yeah.
Way to go.
Sorry. She
Yeah.
could IG us. You know, we should get Pitbull on here.
Yeah,
We could try.
we'll try.
I'm gonna reach out.
Reach out
Yeah.
to Pitbull.
Yeah, I think you guys can. I think you're moving in that
With a
direction.
picture of you.
Trying.
Yeah, that's
No,
good.
just to,
Send him a selfie. of me.
Doppelganger.
Let's break
Or
the
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger.
You know, of just there's nothing wrong with getting help. You know,
Right.
I used to definitely try to live this like double life because you don't want to be judged,
Right.
but you live a happier, better, more fulfilled life,
Right.
and you're an asset as opposed to a liability.
hmm
You know,
Yep.
and I think that's important.
Yeah. I think you guys have the platform to do that. I think more people with that kind of following and influence needs to start talking from the heart
Mm-hmm.
a little about more honestly about their
Sure.
struggles. There's something like when we're vulnerable, we connect. That's how we're
Connect.
created.
I agree.
And we've all seen it, right?
I
We've seen a
agree.
group of
Totally.
people in a room who have no idea about each other, and they start sharing, and then you walk out like you've known these people your whole life. Like that's just it happens over and over and over and over. So it's like to have that kind of influence out there in the world and not use it for good
Right.
is kind of a waste.
I agree.
So I love what you guys are doing, and super pumped that you
We
guys
love
have
what
me.
you're doing, and we'd love to get involved more somehow.
Yeah,
with the
let's
jails, or the
talk.
Police, panels. We'd love to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're always up for getting into the community and
Yep.
sharing our stories,
Yeah.
our strength, and our personal, individualized ways of attacking life today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this platform is one platform, and we get to come on here and we talk a lot, and we meet a lot of cool guests,
Mhm.
and but to get out and hone in our public speaking
Yeah.
skills
Yeah.
as well, because this is actually not public speaking. You know what I
I know
mean?
we're kind of sitting in a room chit-chatting.
Like it's a very intimate. Although some people when they come in, they think about it, they're like, "Oh my God, thousands of people are going to hear this," but I don't see it that way.
Mhm.
But when I get out in public speak, I'm like, "Oh my God, look at all the people out there."
Because you actually have eyeballs.
Yeah.
there.
You have
I love
eyeballs
it.
on you.
Yeah, I do too.
I love it.
I do too.
Yeah. I love it.
I love it afterwards.
Yeah.
I still,
Yeah.
I have a fear. I've always had it.
Sure.
I was
feel
the
like
guy
Number one
It does.
fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
in the
Like
world.
one of the
it
top
is.
fears is
Yeah.
public speaking.
Public speaking.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? Do you just go up there and
Dude, it's
picture
just-
picture yourself naked?
No.
No, wait.
No.
You're supposed to picture everybody else naked.
I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see
But
some
damn,
of the people that
people.
are in the
That's what I
crowd
was gonna
naked.
say, dude. Like, you like look around and you're like, damn.
Well, here's the thing: when you're authentic
Yeah.
and you're just sharing from the heart, it's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the reaction on people. You see the Me Too's in people's eyes, and it's just like you just start syncing up like little wireless routers, spiritually.
Yeah.
I love it. But I like I said, we do a lot of wellness seminars and things like that, and wellness. I'm just in that space, so we'll definitely talk about maybe having you guys come out, and
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
that'd be super cool.
Yeah,
Having a panel or something. We're
Done.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. Then we'll get you in front of some cops will be like, Chad, I know that guy from somewhere.
If it's Orange County,
And then-
they do.
I'm pretty sure when you mentioned ball in Anaheim, ball and
Beach and ball.
beach and ball. I'm pretty sure that's where I got my first DUI.
Really?
Good old.
What were you
Anaheim.
doing over there?
Picking up
Lord knows.
coke.
Yeah,
Not where the coke dealers are.
dealing something.
Yeah.
Oh
Something
boy.
I shouldn't have been doing.
Actually, you know what? I feel like the coke dealers are at like the nightclubs. It's the meth and the crack and heroin.
Yeah, they're on beach and ball.
Beach and ball. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
they-
My
they
coke
just-
dealer was at his house,
He was just
Yeah.
chilling.
just chilling. Yep,
Mm.
picking his balls, sitting in his underwear.
Gross.
I swear.
Oh
So
my
gr-
his
God.
balls?
Isn't that
His balls.
Yeah, he's a heavy guy,
Oh,
sweaty,
God,
Did he-
no.
sitting at his kitchen table, smoking opium all day. This is a true story.
Oh wow. So he smoked opium and sold coke.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
But
Really nice.
Where do you get opium?
Don't know.
well, he was of that culture.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like hash. Opium. It comes in like it's thick. It's really hard. It's really good.
Yeah, and he had a very sophisticated Gatorade bottle that he was smoking
geez,
it out
he
of.
ruined it. He ruined it. Holy fuck! So he's getting plastic while he's smoking good opium. Good for that.
Oh, the things we did.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
You know-
I sit at home now with my daughter and watch hockey playoffs and love my wife, and just there's none of that.
Yeah.
How's Winnipeg doing?
Not be good.
No,
They're out.
No.
not yet, but
Close.
Colorado's smoking them
Yeah,
right now.
3-1.
Is that your team?
No.
Oilers?
No, I don't really have a team.
Oh,
He's from Winnipeg though,
I'm
so
from
I feel like Winnipeg
Okay.
should
No.
be his team, right?
No.
I mean, you would think.
Yeah.
No.
Winnipeg. What are they? The Penguins?
the Jets.
The Jets.
The Winnipeg Penguins. That sounds
Makes
better,
sense,
actually.
though. Makes sense.
It does.
Like who is
Are there penguins in Winnipeg?
No.
No.
But who is the Penguins? There's a,
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, Sid the Kid.
Yeah.
There's no Penguins in Pittsburgh. That
No,
just seems
I don't-
really weird to.
Well, are there predators in Nashville?
More than likely.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess that's
there's
a bad example. There's ducks in Anaheim. We know that.
There are
Yeah.
ducks in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yep.
Well, damn, dude, thanks for coming
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
It's a
Yeah,
good
it's good to see you.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
It was fun hanging out with you guys. I
It was
appreciate
really
it.
nice. It flowed well.
Yes, it
You
did.
know what I'm saying? That's what was nice.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
cool.
All right.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Yeah.
bro.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh gosh.